Be the voice that somebody desperately needs to hear. And this video is going to be pertaining to the power of speech, on basically why your speech can be the most powerful weapon in revolution, in bringing change to this world. So, throughout my life, I have been very much dedicated to the discovery of truth. I have made it my primary goal to understand what it really means to live a life in line with truth, to live a life true to yourself, to live a life that is authentic, to be true. I've constantly asked myself this for a while, and it's been over now 5 years since I've been looking into truth in a more disciplined way through study. And throughout this time, I have had numerous realizations about the way society works, about the way that humans work, about the fears that plague humanity, about the doubts that cloud people's minds, and a lot about the voices that are silenced, not so much by censorship, but more so by our own fears and doubts, by our own lack of understanding of the power that we hold. Fear and doubt can only enter one's mind when they don't understand the power that they hold over themselves and over the environment. This video came to me because I've seen the power that my speech has had on people's lives. Not just with this channel, but with previous channels, and also with previous experiences and projects that I have gone into. One big one would be the social dancing podcast that I have created with my friends. It is now on pause, but during the time, our podcast really took off because we were having the conversations that a lot of people were uncomfortable having. We were saying the things that a lot of dancers were not saying, and we weren't afraid to speak our truth and speak our mind. As things progressed, I got deeper and deeper into the community and realized a lot of the negative aspects of it. I realized just how removed the artists were from the art, how much money can corrupt a system, and how much power can also be used in the wrong way. So as I realized this, my desire to speak my truth became even stronger, fervently wanting to wake people up, to question, why are we dancing? Why are we here? And through this experience, I had issues with my team, with my friends, because I felt like they felt like I was too extreme. Things got a little difficult, and now we're figuring things out. But I know that I am now in a different place, and I know that I have now walked away and have entered my own being. I no longer need the podcast to be able to speak my truth. I realize that my truth can be spoken of now, and the power that I hold is within myself. And I have seen it where I made a comment on this post, and it was in reference to how the social dancing community has, and this can go for any field in art, has lost touch with art itself, has lost touch with vulnerability, with creation. Now it's become a thing of, copycat. We mimic movements. We play this game called technique, and if we do it right, then we're good dancers. And this could be said about a lot of fields. This is just an example. And I spoke my truth, and I had a few people follow me and a few people like me, and it was interesting because I I wasn't looking for that. I wasn't looking for people to follow me. And one of them was an artist, and she had like tens of thousands of followers, way more than I do currently. And I thought to myself, wow, maybe she really needed to hear that. And I asked myself, well, people actually care for what I have to say. Like, I was like, wow, surprised by that. And more so because I have no name in the social dancing field. Like, I have my podcast, and I'm known for that, but I'm not huge. The podcast isn't huge compared to what a lot of these artists have. And I'm also not a professional dancer. I'm a dancer at heart, and I have a passion for dance, and that's where my post came from, my comment came from. And and I find myself seeing that as I depart from these places where I thought that I needed to be heard, as I stop putting limitations on when it is appropriate for me to speak my truth, as I start to awaken to my power and understand that it's much bigger than myself, that it's about the other person on the other side of the world that needs to hear this, that needs to know that they are understood, that needs to know that there is something that is wrong and that they're not crazy, and that they do need to, and that there is hope, that there is somebody on the other side of the world that wants to change this, that is working to change this, that is actively working on this. That is the power that you hold when you speak your truth. That is the power that your voice holds. And another example is, even at my workplace, a lot of people struggle with, there's been this whole thing about promotion. We've been told that it's very hard to move up from buster to server. And it seems very difficult. It seems like managers don't care. They're hiring servers, but not really focusing on training the busters. And so, even though, everybody puts in a lot of work, and even though we are short staffed, you know what I'm saying? So like, there's this problem here, and I cut through it where I went direct. I sent an email to my manager and was like, hey, I don't appreciate the lack of transparency, the lack of clarity on how to be promoted. I've been working. I believe I can be promoted. I believe I can bring a lot of value as a server. And so that immediately got me into a position where they gave me the opportunity. I was put onto the eyes of the higher ups also, so, to see if I can, if I was able to be promoted. And then later on, I was told that we don't have the budget currently, but that, there might be some things we can do, but it's going to take time. It's going to take work. And I was like, okay, that is all I need. And that, that's what happens when you speak your truth, right? That's what happens when you call people out and you hold people accountable. That's another thing, because when you speak your truth, you hold people accountable. And the fact that people are so afraid to speak their truth and also to hear the truth. So me sending that email, being very clear about where I'm at, what I think, and what I want from the other person, being very clear in a respectful way, of course, that allowed me to create this new perception of me from my managers, that that I'm serious about it, and that I know what's going on. There's like, you can't bullshit me, right? But I don't think that I would have been in this place now, haven't been able to do this, had I not gone through everything I've gone through. For example, in the social dancing community, through the podcast, or even with my friends, I've realized that I am in my right. The only person I need is myself. My connection to my higher self empowers me. I have my wife, which is great, and she believes in me. And I have my family, and that's all I need. And and that has allowed me to move forward with the certainty to be able to let people know what's up. And I want to tell you that you should let people know what's up. You should be the person that speaks out for yourself, speaks out for your needs, speaks out for just respect for yourself. For example, my coworkers, they seem very discouraged. They seem very they'll be complaining like, I can't believe like managers don't care. And I tell them, well, you have to talk to them and you have to figure it out, because if not, you know, you can't change anything. And the usual response is, well, they don't give a shit. If I talk to them, they have the power. Um, I'm just gonna look bad because I'm complaining, etc. And this is where I'm gonna say, like, for you that's listening, and you might be in a similar situation. At the end of the day, your leaders have a responsibility onto you. Your peers have a responsibility onto you. The responsibility is based on relationship. First off, relationship. All right. What is a relationship? It means that when you speak to somebody, it is expected that out of respect for the person, you will listen to them and acknowledge them. At the very least, acknowledge them. And if there has been an agreement prior to that, which says, hey, for example, I am your manager, and anything that, any complaints or any worries that you have, please come to me. Any issues on the job, please come to me. Even though they don't verily say that, it is basically, well, the manager's role. They manage people, and that means that in order to manage people, they have a responsibility onto the people they manage, because the people they manage are looking to them for directions and for an understanding of what they're supposed to do. So it only makes sense that the manager holds an responsibility to the people to be able to communicate transparently, to communicate effectively, to communicate also with emotional intelligence and compassion. So my thing is, if you ever find yourself in a position where you are with a peer or with a higher up, an authority, or etc., because of the relationship, you have the right to hold people accountable. Obviously, you first do that by taking responsibility for anything that you must be responsible for. So you can't be afraid to be called out on your shit. You have to be able to own it and yeah, take responsibility for anything that they're gonna say. Because if I'm over here saying, hey, you guys aren't being transparent with me, but I'm over here, for example, the really easy one was like showing up late to work, then there might be an issue, right? So I have to be able to acknowledge that, okay, so maybe I'm not fulfilling completely my role, but there's still a lot of things that need to be discussed here. And I can work with you on that. I'm willing to change my things if you're willing to change your things. That's how human communication works. And so my thing is that your speech has power. Speaking your truth has power. It has power in the sense that you can hold others accountable. It has power in the sense that it can inspire people to move, to change with you. And it has power in the sense that basically it transforms your environment. I have seen it then, like, again and again. I have been able to transform the social dancing space. I've contributed something of my own self onto the community, because now we have lots of people creating dance podcasts, speaking their mind. Now we have a lot of people shooting more videos in the community, because we lacked a lot of social media attention in the space. Now, like, I'm not the cause of it. I was a part of it, and I know that I have influence of a number of people in the way that they dance, in the way that they approach the dance, in the way that they connect through social media, etc. I know that I have done that. There's no doubt. And it's the same thing in my work. I know that I have influenced people because I've changed my environment. My manager looks at me differently. My manager communicates to me differently. My friends or my coworkers look at me differently a little bit, because I tell them, hey, I hold them accountable, right? You're gonna complain, all right. So these are the things that I've done. Go do that. Hey, speak to the managers. You have to do it, not just complain. And this is me speaking to your power. Always speaking to your power, to your ability to speak your truth. And so sometimes there's a thing, because you don't know the impact that you'll have when you do speak your truth. And there's always going to be that voice that's going to say that there's something wrong, that there's something better. And if you are able to step into that voice, then you will change people's lives. I can guarantee you that. And not only that, it will be the first step to you changing your life. Because the moment that you do that is the realization of something higher within you. You know that there's something better. You know that there's a better reality. You know that there's a better way of doing things. And in you speaking on the fact that that exists allows it to come into existence. That is the power that we have as creators. We hold realities within our mind, and those realities are born through us. They are born through our speech. Our capacity to embody our truth is what's going to transform this world. So this is why we always say the pen is much deadlier than the sword, because it's true. I have recognized this in my life. I've seen it in my life time and time again. So this is just me pointing to a deeper truth, which is your words are weapons. You have to learn how to use them and not have them use you. The negative talk that you have within you is a talk from within asking you to challenge your reality, to step up. And the moment you step up, you can become the voice that somebody else desperately needs to hear. So speak your truth. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. You already know, stay lucid.